Glad you came out tonight. My name is Bill Morgan. We're going to talk more about the human body. And part of me has a little worry from an experience I've had in my past. And I've learned people like to hear about failures more than successes, so I'll share one with you. I used to lead a Bible study at my house. We had 6 eager attendees. And I went to Hollywood and I was doing some street witnessing. I ran into a Jehovah's Witness who brought up all these questions about hell. So I started to really study hell. And I said, wow, this is some really neat stuff. And I did a 3-week series of my home Bible study on hell. And guess what? Everybody stopped coming. So just because I think something's really exciting doesn't mean you guys will. But we're going to talk about the human body again today. We're going to talk about cells, and I do hope you enjoy it. It was a real labor of love. How many people here have ever been in a labor of love? Any of you? Can you relate that sometimes a labor of love is fun in the beginning, fun at the end, but what about the middle? It can be a lot of work. This lesson, I put a lot of time into it, and I loved it. I hope you benefit from it as well. Now, there's another creation group at Costa Mesa that meets at 7 o'clock tonight.
7:30.
Oh, 7:30, thanks. And the first and third Saturday of every month they meet. Today at 7:30 they have a PhD named Joe Francis, a PhD in biochemistry who'll be talking. And that's at the Logos building at Costa Mesa, Calgary. And then they meet the third Saturday. I'm not sure what they're talking about that night. We have a book table. At the book table we also have a lot of DVDs. I have flash drives there. All of my PowerPoint I would be more than happy to share with you guys. I would love to hear someone say, I want to teach a creation lesson. Can I use your PowerPoint? I'd be thrilled to help you and let you use my slides, because then the truth can multiply on creation and evolution. And we're meeting on Tuesday nights as well, 7 o'clock right here. So if you know someone who couldn't make it, it's the same lesson. Or if you just liked it so much, you can come again. So we're meeting Tuesday nights right after the lesson as well, because Saturday is hard for some people. And again, we have the pizza coming. Now, how many people remember what I said? A lot of evolutionists hate something that begins with letter D.
Details.
Very good, Bob. They hate details. Why? Well, they're a pie in the face. Earlier, we learned that they have no explanation for the origin of matter and energy. Huge scientific problem for them. They tend to avoid it. They have no answer whatsoever for the origin of life, so they like to avoid the details. They just say, well, our belief is scientific, yours is faith. Well, they ignore the details and facts of science. Well, today we're going to talk about more details that I think would be really challenging to an evolutionist. And like I said last week, if you came here tonight as an atheist and leave as an atheist, I really can't help you. Some of the arguments today I think are so overwhelming for the existence of a God, a great designer God. If you still choose to be an atheist, I don't know what else to tell you about that. But if you are a Christian, I hope the lesson will encourage you and give you some good witnessing tips as well, as we learn the details of the human body. And it's all going to be, hopefully, on our level, because I really can't talk over you guys anyways. So we're going to talk about some details. Oh, I'm sorry. The Director of Multimedia Operations, Julia Morgan. Big round of applause, please. All right, she does a great job. And Director of Book and Media Sales, Zoe. Right there. And you don't have to sit there during the lesson if you don't want to, but you can if you want to. Okay, next month, we're going to talk about getting equipped for school. Next one, please. Anyone who goes to a school, whether it's Christian, public, or homeschool, we're going to talk about the basics on creation versus evolution, the main points that come up. It's a little bit of review of the very first lesson we had, but we're going to have a lot of new stuff. But hopefully you get the word out and have anyone who attends school, college, whatever, to come to next month's meeting, September 6th. Okay, and I had an idea. I'm going to see if anybody wants to volunteer and help me with this idea. No peer pressure, but you can think about it. I'm thinking, well, I am going to do this, and if anyone wants to help me, it'll be great. When I drive in the car, I like to drive with the radio off. Any of you ever do that? That's when you get your best ideas sometime, isn't it? If you're doing carpentry work, have the radio off and you just think. Well, I thought this would be a great idea. In college newspapers, I want to put advertisements that say this: $100 reward to any student who gets a professor to debate. Now, what do you think could result from that? My goal is a lot of students get excited and say, hey, Dr. Smith, why don't you debate creation versus evolution with this guy? 99 out of 100 professors are going to say no. What type of reasons do you think they'll give?
Too busy.
Yeah, I'm too busy. I don't have the time. It's already been decided. He doesn't deserve an audience. Well, on my website, I'm going to list those, and the student can say, oh yeah, he said that was reason number 3. That's not the real reason. If they really believed it, they'd be happy to debate it and defend it, but they won't. But hopefully a lot of kids will see this and see that their professors are too scared to. On the back table, I have a debate I did at USC. The USC professor is studying the evolution of ape language. So that's his specialty. He's paid full time to study the theory of evolution. And if you watch the DVD, you will learn that he will never debate a creationist again. Okay, I know he doesn't offer the copies. They cannot defend it if you know just a few facts. But I'm going to do that, and if anybody wants to volunteer to simply make phone calls, like you call UC Irvine, get a hold of Campus Crusade for Christ or InterVarsity, and do the legwork that way, come see me. It won't cost you any money, but there's a lot of colleges, a lot of Christian groups, and that's the way to go through it, because they would be able to sponsor the debate. But anybody might be interested in doing that, making phone calls, you might have, great. I'd love to talk to you afterwards. Appreciate that. Okay. We're doing science today. Okay, quick review. Next one. Now, we cover this every week. Just because someone loves the theory of evolution, does that mean they're an atheist? Next one. Right, absolutely not. It is so important to know many people believe in God, but they think that God used evolution. I always like to make that point off the top. And of course, I do believe in God, and I do not believe he used the theory of evolution in order to create. Next one. This is a review from last week, Bolsa Grande High School. I'm going to ask you guys the question. I want to hear your answer. Next one. We discussed the design of the eye. Next one. And the student asked a question. Next one. Okay, this is the only thing I'm reviewing from last month because I think it's important. Is it statistically impossible for an eye to evolve by chance? Now, who was here last month and remembers what a simple answer to that would be? Anybody? Yes? Okay, it's not statistically impossible?
Oh, it is.
Oh, yes. And why is that?
I believe it was like, once it goes past 10 to the 50th power, it becomes statistically impossible.
Okay.
That was, the chance of that was far beyond that.
Okay. Anyone else remember too? If what couldn't evolve by chance, then I couldn't evolve by chance.
Protein.
A protein, okay? I'm going to do a quick review on this. You don't have to remember the numbers, but just think, what is more complex, a protein or an eye? An eye. But if a protein can't happen by chance, fill in the blank. An eye can't happen by chance, and a person can't happen by chance. A blue whale can't happen by chance. Okay, next one. This is just a real quick review. The odds of a protein happening by chance, and this is in your comic book that you have, so you don't have to write any of this down or memorize it. Next one, please. Okay, an alphabet with 20 letters. Remember, a 20-letter alphabet. Next one. And I have in my mind a word with 400 letters long. What are the odds that I give you all the letters you want that you could spell that word? And I'm going to just quickly review this. Next one. And next one, please. Great. The odds are 20 times 20 times 20 till 400 times is reached. Next one. Well, the average sequence of a protein is 20 to the 400th power. Again, don't worry about the details. A protein is like a word made up of amino acids, which is like the letters. Okay? So the protein's the word, 400 letters long. So go ahead. Next one. So the odds of an average protein in you happening by chance is 10 to the 520th power to 1, okay? And possibly large number. Next one. And this number, this is just one protein in your body. Next one. This is like us getting 500 stacks of paper that reach the moon. 500 stacks of paper that reach the moon. Just one sheet of that paper is red, let's say, and you find that one sheet by chance. Just want you to marvel at the complexity of just one protein in your body. There's no way that could happen by chance. And once again, is a protein even a cell? No, it didn't happen by chance. Next one. And again, if something's bigger than 10 to the 50th power, it's considered impossible. So it is impossible, next one, for a protein to happen by chance. Therefore, an eye could not happen by chance. You are not the result of chance. The numbers can't reach the statistics of you happening by chance. Next one, please. And next one. And next one. And next one. Great. Very good. Next one. All right. New stuff today. We're going to talk about stem cells. How many people have heard of stem cells? Okay. How many have not? Don't feel bad. Okay. Stem cells are a big item in the news. Tons of funding. Lots of controversy. Makes for a good subject, right? And then we're going to give 219 reasons that the theory of evolution is ridiculous. And next one, please. Okay. How many cells did each and every person in this room begin as? Nice and loud, somebody?
One.
Okay, very good. Next one. You all began as one cell. Next one. How many cells do you have now? It's on the front page of your comic book, I think. Next one. 75 trillion. So you went from 1 to 75 trillion. This thing, look at you now. Isn't God awesome? Yes? Well, it's plus or minus 2. Shaquille O'Neal has a little bit more. Jockeys have a little bit less. Actually, there's a range that I've seen from 50 to 100 million. Some people say 50 trillion. Some say 100 trillion. Some say 75. I go with the average, 75 trillion. Next one. So, we have a puzzled cat here. How in the world do we go from 1 to 75 trillion? Well, guess who has the answer? Next one. A smart dog, of course, right? Dogs are superior, amen? People ask me, do dogs go to heaven? I say yes. But cats don't. Oh. No, that's just a joke. Okay. Well, it all happened by stem cells. Next one. Next one. What is a stem cell? And next, please. Okay. Stem cells are breathtakingly amazing and complex and wonderful. It's a cell that can eventually become any of the other cells in your body. Because just think, first, the theory of evolution is really intellectually nonsense. I say that politely if you look at the details. If you were the same cell over and over and over and over again, it might make a little bit of sense, but not really. But to have all the different cells in all the right places is just mind-boggling and complex. Bone cells, hair cells, skin cells, muscle cells. But you all began as stem cells that eventually became the other types, and they knew where to go. Next one, please. So, we got a stem cell, and what can that thing become? Next one, please. Many, many different things. Bones, brains, hearts, cartilage, tendons, skin cells, bone cells, and eyes, and the list goes on and on. And this is what a stem cell can do. Next one, please. So, in the laboratory, you've heard the debate about embryonic and adult stem cells. Have any of you heard that? Okay. And I am not an expert in this field. I have about 1 month of experience of reading lots of articles on the internet and magazines. A lot of them, after they start repeating a little bit, you start to know. But don't say, oh, Bill Morgan's an expert in stem cells. I've just read a lot of articles in the last month about it. But they can in the laboratory, there's embryonic and adult stem cells. We're going to ask a true or false question here. Who wants to volunteer and take the quiz? Don't worry, it's not a real hard question. Thanks. Stand on up, please. Next one, please. Trivia time. Go ahead. This is my buddy Scott. He's involved in pediatric cancer research. How about a big round of applause? All right. Now, stem cells can be obtained from placentas and umbilical cords after birth. Now, my oldest daughter got cancer, leukemia, just before she turned 3. My wife was 9 months pregnant at the time, and they were excited about the fact that her sister might have stem cells in her cord blood that would help her, and if it was a good match. It turned out it wasn't a good match, but it also turned out that she never had to go to that length. But there's all kinds of stem cells and placentas and umbilical cords in a newborn baby. So the question for you, Scott, is this. Next one, please. Are these, the stem cells in cord blood, embryonic or adult stem cells?
It's like embryonic.
Okay, the answer is? Next one. They're adult. No shame in that. I would have thought so too, because 2 months ago with the debate, I might have said, oh, there's all kinds of embryonic stem cells in cord blood. No, that's considered adult. Excuse me, please. Oh, that's okay. Just go page up. Oops. Okay, no problem. So they're considered adult. And next one. There's the internet just really, really rocks. There's so many options out there. There are so many neat graphs. This was my favorite one. Let's do my laser pen here. This is your life, everybody. Remember that? How many people are old enough to remember that show? This is your life. Okay, this is your life. You started out as a fertilized egg, and my pronunciations might be wrong. It looks like totipotent. That means this cell could eventually become any kind. Well, you get what's called the blastocyte, and all these stem cells start occurring, and this is after only about a week or so of fertilization, and until you get to about 100. My pen just died. Okay. So anyways, in the middle of that circle are the stem cells. Then they become pluripotent. That means they can become different cells, but within a limit, like say maybe 50 types of different cells. It just gets more and more amazing. Then after a while, they become committed, and they're either going to be part of the circulatory, nervous system, etc., and that's unipotent. They can only become one type of cell. So it's only a few days after conception that the stem cell can become anything. When it's in the cord blood, it's considered an adult stem cell and unipotent, okay? So teach a little bit more. I would guess some of you are being bored to death with this. I'm sorry about that, but hopefully some of you are finding this interesting. Because I just love this kind of stuff. Okay, so that's how it began. And let's just think about this. This is a slide that's coming up. Begins with the letter I. To come from a fertilized egg to all these different cells, you need tremendous amounts of, and it's not a science word, begins with the letter I. Anybody want to shout out a guess? What is it? Very good, Phil. Information beyond belief. Information that could fill books, that could fill the Grand Canyon in order to make you from one little fertilized egg. Just beyond description. Next one, please. Okay, so adult stem cells are a source, embryonic, and only like about the first 100 cells are what they like after fertilization is called blastocytes. Those are the ones that are considered embryonic that a lot of people like. Now, getting off the moral issue, why do they like those first 100? Because they can become anything. After a while, it's limited to what the stem cells could become. Good, you guys are getting equipped. That makes me feel good. Next one. So, first, there's a moral debate, but a lot of these people do recognize the strengths and weaknesses of the competing. So it's not like two fields are fighting each other, but I put verses up there anyways just to educate a little bit. Embryonic and adult stem cells. Next one. Embryonic stem cells can become any cell in nature. In the labs, they're trying to manipulate the embryonic stem cells. We'll talk about that. Next one. And adult stem cells can only become certain cells. Want to drive that home. And next one, please. Here's a cartoon for you. And this is the controversy. Some people say life begins in the petri dish. Some says cloning for research. Okay. Not even one person can fake a laugh. Okay. Thank you very much. Next one. Here's the controversy. Next one, please. Let me ask you guys, audience participation. Is using embryonic stem cells destroying a life? Anybody want to raise their hand and give a nice loud answer? Yes? Nice and loud?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Anybody else want to chime in on this debate? Anyone? How many people want to stay completely out of it? Come on, you're not shy, Phil. What do you think?
Well, I think the process they probably
Well, it depends on your definition of life. Next one. When does life begin? She said at conception. I always believe when you get a driver's license. Any answer to that? Okay. No. Well, if your definition of life is at conception, is it destroying a life to use embryonic stem cells? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And a scientific definition of life is cell, what's the second word? Cell division. Does it take cell division to make the blastocytes? Yes. It's a consistent definition. If someone thinks life doesn't start at conception, what's a polite, non-obnoxious question you could ask that person?
When does it start?
When does it start? They might say at birth. Okay, well, what about 2 minutes before birth? Is it alive? It's a slippery slope for them to define when it does start. They might say, well, at 3 months. What polite question could you ask? Yeah, their heartbeats, brain waves. Well, what happened between 2 months and 29 days and 3 months and 1 day? It's an argument that is not really defensible, so I do believe it is destroying a life based upon the definition of what life is. Next one. And you need a fertilized egg. They're not going to do it otherwise. Next one. Now, what has happened is for reproduction purposes, a lot of people have fertilized eggs. It's called in vitro fertilization. Have you heard of that? Okay, my wife and I took us 7 years to have children, and we didn't go to that step, but I gave her shots and all this other stuff. That was really exciting. Anybody ever given someone a shot? Yes. So we did that, but we wouldn't go to in vitro because that would be a fertilized egg, and to us, that would be something that's alive. So they had all these fertilized eggs sitting out there that people didn't want anymore, and the embryonic people said, hey, well, they're just going to throw those out anyways. Let's use that for research. And President Bush had a lot of pressure on him, and he said, okay, we're not going to fund embryonic stem cell research, but you can use the old discarded eggs that are going to be thrown out anyways. So that's where it's at on the political field. But as of now, there's no federal funding for that. But the next 2 presidential candidates will fund it, yes.
In embryonic, I'm not sure the question. In embryonic stem cell, using that, can one do only some of the blastocytes, and not all of them? Or do they, or if they use those stem cells, does that mean they take all of them?
Yes, they have the potential to become any cell.
But in one?
Yes. But as a layman, what's a big problem that they're facing?
What would that?
Exactly. When my daughter was in remission, we went to Duke University to check them out in case she went in case she relapsed. And we met a lady named Dr. Kurtzberg. Have you heard of her? She's maybe the leading leukemia lady at Duke. And she came out and talked about stem cells. She said there's a risk that you want brain stem cells and you could start growing bones in your brain. You see? And this is a big challenge. They don't know what they could become. You could put it in the heart and hope it becomes a heart cell. And they're doing this with mice and rats and all kinds of things. But it could develop into the wrong type of cell. So that's one of the issues that people are facing right now. And how do you get a human subject to undergo these tests? It's a tough thing. And next one, please. And real quickly, This is in the news. Some people are saying that with adult stem cells, they can modify it and it regresses back to a blastocyte. Like it goes backwards in time. And again, you could read volumes on this, be way over your head. But some people are thinking the adult stem cells can go back in time to become embryonic. Many, many issues on this, but we're not going to spend too much time on that. Next one. So, have adult stem cells been helpful in science up to now? How many people would say yes? How many would say no? How many would say, where's the pizza? Okay, next one, please. Adult stem cells up to now have been tremendously helpful in millions and millions of lives. That's what they use in bone marrow transplant. Many things, adult stem cells have had a lot of great success in science. Next one, please. Embryonic stem cells, as of today, have they helped one person on Earth? No. Next one. And next one. But let's be educated, people. Let's be honest and fair. There's a lot of research that's going to happen, and in the future, it could be wonderful. I think stem cells in the future could be tremendously wonderful. Now, a lot of people, I've seen arguments from Christians say, hey, nobody's been helped yet so far. True, but in the future, embryonic stem cells could provide tremendous benefits to people, and we just have to realize that the research will be conducted. But as of now, they haven't had any luck with it for many reasons. Next one. And some of the problems, and we'll rip through these real quick. Next one. Who's going to be tested on it, right? Maybe if someone was incredibly desperate for help, they might be, but so far there hasn't been any human testing with embryonic. Next one. In mice, they're often making cancerous tumors when they're doing it. They're having a lot of troubles, but they're working hard. And once the federal government starts funding it, the research will increase. Next one. And it often makes the wrong type of cells. Like I said, bones in your brain, which is not a good thing. Next one. And you got to get eggs from adult females. Big, big problem, big ethical problem. In Asia, they have people selling their eggs, females like that, and they're fertilizing them for research. Again, a lot of ethical things. And it's not just the religious right who's against this, okay? There's many, many people who have ethical problems with that. Even Harvard comes out and says we got to draw the line on some of this research. Next one, please. Okay, trivia time. Shout out the answer. Which country is likely to emerge as a leader in embryonic stem cell research? Anybody want to take a guess?
Germany.
Okay, I heard Germany. Japan is way up there. Australia. Next one. Singapore. Anybody know that one? Singapore. Were you going to say that, Henry? Okay. Singapore is spending much, much money and building labs next to each other. They're integrating. A lot of the top people from United States and Europe are going to Singapore because they don't have the ethical problems. They're paying them like crazy. And it's, as you know, California passed the money to do stem cell research. Well, a lot of our top California people went to Singapore instead of working here for that reason. But a lot of it comes down to funding and facilities. Singapore is way up there, as is Japan. Next one. All right, this picture has nothing to do with creation and evolution, but I loved it. What do stem cells have to do with creation and evolution? And just quick summary. Next one. Full of design, full of information. Hopefully, as you learned about them today, your faith that there is a creator, designer, God, the knowledge that you're not an accident, that you're wonderfully and fearfully made will be emphasized. I'd like to share with you guys science knowledge. If you do talk to people about ethical issues and moral issues, you might learn more. And always be willing to listen to the other person's side of the argument. But that's why I brought up stem cells today. Any questions on stem cells as we move on to the really fun part of the lesson? Anything? Okay. And next one. Okay, 219 reasons the theory of evolution is ridiculous. And I don't say that snidely. I say it factually, in my opinion, okay? And if anyone disagrees, be more than happy to have a public debate. But It doesn't happen too often. Yes?
Out of sheer ignorance, I'd like to ask a question. Is abortion and the popularity of abortion directly involved with the issue of stem cells?
I would say no, because abortions have been going on long before the stem cell issue. And as Christians, we have to realize details help us, but a lot of people, I don't think anybody on the planet has ever said, yeah, I'm just going to go get one. I think it's a traumatic thing for anyone who's decided to get one. We have to be compassionate about that. But they don't want to know the details of the procedure of it, what actually happens. For example, sometimes, I'll just tell you a quick story. If I'm talking to someone on a college campus and the issue of abortion comes up, I ask them a question. I'll play both sides in this role play. I say to a person, do you believe a woman has a right to knowledge about her body? Of course. Do you think women should be empowered with information about things that go on in their body? Absolutely, and this person is pro-abortion. Then wouldn't you agree that before, let's keep abortion legal, I tell her, but let's make it a law that she gets an ultrasound before the abortion, sees what's inside her, and she gets educated to what happens. What's their response? No. Well, that's denying the information and the facts. They'll say, oh, you have an agenda, or you must be against it. Just provide the information. And if you see the ultrasound of the shape of a nose, they'll say, no, I really can't go through with this. So anyways, I don't think the stem cells has a lot to do with the popularity. I think it's been popular for a long time. That's just my guess. Anybody want to add to that? Anyone? Okay. Next one, please. All right, you started out as one cell. Next one, another trivia question. How many types of cells do humans have? Who wants to take a guess? Very good, I heard the right answer. Next. 219. That's how many I counted. Sometimes people say 210, I've seen 300, but Wikipedia had a nice list of the cells, and there was about 219. Next one. Now, I would love for people to socialize a little bit. I would like to take about 3 or 4 minutes. If you're near some people that you don't know, get out your list. Everybody have your list on the different types of cells. Just spend about 4 minutes with someone nearby and come up with a cell on there that you think is amazingly cool, okay? So just briefly look through it, and I'd like to hear some of the cells that you guys think are just amazing. Like, Bob can talk to this guy a little bit. But we'll get back to you in about 3 minutes. But I want you to look at the cells and see all the things that they can do. Zoe, could you... Okay, any groups want to stand up and name a number of one of your favorites and pronounce it? That'd be even better. Let's take some volunteers. Thanks, Zoe.
I just wiped out your volunteer list.
I can't pronounce most of them either. In college, I took a class called metallurgy, but I had just read it in books and stuff. And I was at a Buffalo Bills football game. This guy worked in metals, and I said, oh, I'm taking a class that I love in college. It's called metallurgy. Because, buddy, you've been pronouncing it wrong. So I might pronounce words wrong, too. Yes? Which one of your favorites, sir?
I would like to talk about the respiratory tract ciliated cells.
Say it 10 times real fast. What number is that?
That is number 114.
Okay, 114.
Would you like me to share a little bit about that?
Do you know about it?
Well, I'm a respiratory therapist, and whenever a person smokes, it paralyzes these ciliated cells that beat like 100 beats a second to help clean out, like a vacuum, our respiratory tract. So I think that's kind of stupid to smoke.
I am so glad you came tonight. Good.
That's what I want to say about that.
Excellent. I'm really glad you came. Anyone else? Come on, we need a couple more volunteers. Yes.
The spindle neuron.
Which number is that?
207.
Wow, you got all the way to the 200s, huh? Yeah, the nerve, I guess they communicate by waves to send information through the brain. And the neat thing is there's so much more to be learned about the human body. And the number of cells will increase in time. But you can read 219 as well as I, and probably know about as much of it as I do on that one. Yes?
I just thought it was really interesting that we have white and brown fat cells.
Yes.
But these brown fat cells take care of newborn babies with body heat, provides body heat for them.
Yeah, it's a different type of cell.
Yeah, very
And-
interesting. And the white ones do something totally different.
He's a guy with details, isn't he?
Absolutely.
And off the topic a little bit, breastfeeding. The composition, the chemical composition of the breast milk changes as the baby matures. How many people knew that? It's not the same chemically. It's what the baby needs throughout the stages. It's just amazing how cared for we are and loved by God. And this, like I said, it's 219 reasons that you are wonderfully and fearfully made. You're not an accident. This can help self-esteem. Self-esteem comes from knowing who you are with God, not what other people think about you. What God thinks about you. And He did a fantastic design to make you. It's worth it to spend some time with Him, amen? One more volunteer, anyone, for a number? Okay, come on. Mary Ann, thank you very much. Benjamin, Matthew?
I like number 129.
29, not a very good bowling average. So we read numbers. Pulpit cell of the invertebrate disc. Jelly-like substance. Oh yeah, a lot of people have problems with this one, don't they? 129. The jelly-like between our discs, and it's like a shock absorber. And you just look at the spine. If you don't think the spine is designed, once again, I can't help you. Fantastic design. Your spine has holes in it for blood vessels to pass through. It's got grooves in it for blood vessels and nerve vessels to pass through. The more you study it, the more awesome and wonderful it gets. Well, not to brag at all, but I'll just tell you some facts. When I heard we had about 210 cells in the body, I said, great, I can't wait to go on the internet and download a list of all of them. Well, there was no comprehensive list on the entire internet. You have one in your hand. Wikipedia described all the cells. Well, they listed all the cells, but often they didn't describe them. And sometimes when they described them, the respiratory therapist might know what they're talking about, but I didn't. So each cell, I tried to figure out in layman's language what each one does, and I'm going to post this on my website. You can make copies of it, and if someone does not believe in God, give them this list and have them ponder each and every one of them. And it's just a fantastic, fun study. Next one, please. Trivia. Who's that? Who's that? Somebody shout it out? No, it's not Leanders. Maria. What was her last name? On track. Very good. Okay. Well, these are some of my favorite cells. I didn't like that movie when I was a young, tough guy, but now I do. How many agree? That movie's great. I love it. Next one. Oh, I want to get 4 volunteers. 2 here, 2 here. We're going to play cell trivia. Come on up. Who's not shy? We need 4 volunteers. Come on. It's going to be fun. Okay, there's one young man. Bev, thank you. Henry. And we need one more person to be on his team. All right, good. Come on up. Okay, we'll have 2 on that side. You get the guess first on the first cell, and you get the guess on the second one. Next one. I have electron microscope images of some cells. You guys can come on this side. Thank you for volunteering. You get a free book on your way off, okay? Okay, Beverly, this is my sister Beverly. Big round of applause. And Henry, the #1 fan of creation science. Okay. And your name?
Spencer.
And you? Stephen, okay. You guys get the guess first. And only hit it once, Julie. Very important. Go ahead. Okay, what do you think that mess is? Do you think they're dinosaur scales? It's actually cells in the body. What's your guess? Oh, I need a judge. Marianne, you're the judge if it's right or not. What do you think, Henry and Bev?
The tongue.
Okay. Next one, Julia. That's your stomach lining that makes mucus. Why is this one of my favorite cells? What's inside your stomach? This is so cool to me. In your stomach, you got hydrochloric acid designed to dissolve meat. What is your stomach made out of? Meat. Why doesn't it dissolve your stomach? Because you've got all these bends and folds and shapes, and it keeps producing a mucus to keep the acid off your stomach. I just love that. What God is so incredible. If it weren't for that mucus, you'd have holes in your stomach. Is that design? Absolutely. And okay, you guys get the next one. Next one, Julia, just hit it once. Okay, is that a tasty watermelon? What do you guys think? You can work as a team? What do you think it is? What cell, what do you think that is, that thing on the right?
The cells of the smooth muscles.
The what?
Smooth muscle cell.
Smooth muscle.
Oh, smooth muscle cell. Oh, no, okay, next one. Good guess. Hair cells. If you cut your hair and look down on it, it would not be the same cell over and over and over again. To me, I just marvel at this. There's about 9 different layers of cells that make up your hair, okay? So, makes me feel worse than I'm losing mine because they're so wonderful, but beautiful design. Okay, you get the next one. Next one, Julia. Okay, I'm going to give you the first letter of these cells. It starts with letter K, and it's those two, not this one, not the one on the bottom. I didn't do laser pen. Okay, pretty good guess. Next one. Anybody want to take a guess in the audience? Killer cells. Anybody heard of killer cells? They're talked about all the time in the AIDS healing process and things like that. You have cells in your body that are called killer cells. Those are the tough guy cells, and this is a picture of them killing a tumor cell. Good thing we have them. You wouldn't last a day. Next one. This is for you. Some of them are going to get a little bit easier. One of them is real easy. Next one, Julia. Okay, now this on the bottom is blown up of those two. It looks like a couple of chiclets, those little squares that are joined together. So down here is a blow up of that. See the little hooks? These cells have all these hooks so that they're flexible like a train, but still you can't separate them. Isn't that neat? What do you guys think? Design? I think so too. Oh, no, not DNA. Let's just take another guess. This is a cell in your body. Yeah. Okay, 3 seconds. Take a guess. Okay, what's your name again? Steve, is it? You're going to kick yourself. Guess what it is? Next one. It's those smooth muscle cells. That's what he guessed last time. I couldn't believe it. It's like you saw the answers to the test, but you put them to the wrong question. That happened to me in college. This guy was cheating off his neighbor, and the answers are right, but the question was not the right question. But anyways, I just love this. Look at all those little hooks so that they're flexible, but they can't separate. Okay, next one. This is for you, Beth. Krispy Kreme. What are they, Beth?
Fruit Loops. Red blood cells.
That's right. You would have known, right? Red blood cells. Oh, okay. Yeah, red blood cells, sickle cell anemia is where people unfortunately don't have nice and round ones. They're bent a little bit, and when they're bent, they can't get through the tiniest capillaries in your body, and they get pain and poor blood circulation. So the capillaries are designed, the red blood cells are designed. How many red blood cells do you make a second? Take a guess, somebody. I'll take one guess. Every second of your life you're making 3 million. Every second of your life. Are you wonderfully and fearfully made? Absolutely. Because they're dying like crazy. Next one. This is for you. Okay. Well, he said blood cells. We'll give you a point for that. That's electron microscope of a vein and the blood cells going through it. So it's really, looks like a liquid, but to me it looks like it's a whole bunch of small cells together. So that's your veins. Next one, okay, Bob, you can't look. No. Close your eyes. Next one. What type of cell is that? Three seconds.
Something with the skin. No, bacteria.
Go down one, Julia. That is a nerve cell, the dendrites. The dendrites spread out and everything to sense pressure, etc. Okay? Don't look, guys. You got to turn. Okay, go down one, Julia. This is called quality control. Okay, now you can look. Now, not to put pressure on you, but she got this right last night. It's something that you've heard of. Something in your nose? Do you agree, Steve? You want to go with that? The what? Blood vessels? I'll give you those two guesses. Good guess. Go ahead. Nice. Go down one. That's how your teeth looks at the microscopic level, and it's healthy. It's producing enamel. She got that right yesterday. Okay, Bev, close your eyes. Henry, close your eyes. Next one. Okay, there you go. French toast. Makes you hungry, doesn't it?
Is it my guess?
Yes.
Is this,
And Henry's.
is this the stuff between your vertebrae?
Nope. Julie, next one.
Brain.
That's the small intestine. Lots of surface area. You see how God did it? It's not a straight little tube. With all its surface area, you get a lot more chemistry going on. Next one. This is yours. Go ahead. Just once, Julia. Okay. There you go. The what? Small intestine? Anyone else want to take a guess? Go ahead, Julia. What is it? That's right. We did this last night. Go ahead. That's your tongue. All the little taste buds out there yearning to taste pizza. What's neat, when you look at astronomy, you feel small, don't you? You look at biochemistry, you feel pretty important, don't you? I mean, the pride all comes from God. Tom, my buddy here, was doing the camera once, said, we got to be careful when we say, I'm proud of this, I'm proud of that. Our self-esteem should come from God and not from anything that we've done. Next one. It's a diagram of your taste buds. Those things open and close and all kinds of neat stuff. Cool. Julie, next one. Okay, this is yours, Bob. Ice cream cones. You probably won't guess this one, but you'd be dead without it. What part of the body? We'll make it easier for you.
Something in the heart.
Okay, something in the heart. Next one. You're right. You knew that? It's in the brain. It secretes liquids. You know, your brain is like floating around in a bunch of liquid so that, you know, when you get your head hit, you have a much better chance of survival. It secretes liquid that protects your brain. And next one, Julia. Pizza smell filling the room. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Looks like raspberries and rose petals, doesn't it? What do you think it is, Steve? Do you know what it is? Part of the body you've heard of. Anybody in the audience recognize this?
Heart.
We're all adults here. A couple of people found humor in that. Doesn't it like strawberries? Okay. Different cells throughout your body for different functions. And next one. Okay. Well, I think it was a tie.
Oh.
Your prize is to get pizza later. Thank you. Now, I always like you to have in the back of your mind quick witnessing facts. I'm going to give you some real simple cells that in the last couple of weeks that I've shared with people that are inside your body. 3 cool cells. Next one, the first one is number, Happy Valentine's Day, number 17. Next one. Number 17, my number when I was a very, very mediocre motocrosser. But anyways, those cells secrete a liquid so that your taste buds are always ready to sense taste. They're in the back of your tongue. To me, that's so cool. God not only gave you taste buds, they're always lubricated so that they're ready to work. Next one. We'll go through these. I'm sure some people in here recognize this one. Anyone? Raise your hand. This might be my favorite cell in the whole body. Anyone?
Eyelash?
No? Good guess. They are hairs.
In the inner ear?
Ah, very good. 100 points for you. Very good. Next one. Those are tiny little hairs inside your ear that when they wiggle, they transmit information for your brain. Now, I could be wrong in this, and it might be controversial. After doing the study, I think ears are more complex than eyes. Anybody agree that know about those two? Anybody strongly disagree? Eyes are incredibly complex. Ears, not only do you use them to listen, you also use them for what? Balance. Well, real quickly, I'll talk about this. For you to hear, you need a mechanism for sound waves that travel through air, then they travel through a liquid, then they travel through a solid. These are 3 different modes of sound and waves, and your ears cannot process these. Well, just quickly, you have tiny little hairs in your ear that wiggle. When they wiggle, they make a mechanical motion. The mechanical motion generates electrons that go to your brain to process the sound. Okay? Sight is used, there's photons. Your eyes turn the photons into electrical signals to your brain that process it as sight. The sense of touch is physical pressure into electrons that go to your brain. You get where I'm getting at. Smell, gases in the air turn into electrons that go to your brain. God is breathtakingly awesome, and we all get the blues and depressed and feel forsaken, but creation just speaks out about how awesome God is and how blessed we are every single day. What did you ever do to earn little hairs inside your ears so you can hear it? Did anybody in here ever do anything to earn it? Let's all together say, thank you, God, for my ears. Yeah, and you get the blues. I always like the hands, but all of this is a wonderful gift from a giving God. Next one, please. And there's a little more zoom in. Look at the beautiful stacking. And this is microscopic. You need incredibly powerful microscopes to see this. Yes. Excuse me, everybody. Just that they look like little people without arms. Very good, Julia. And they're soldiers in a row, right? Next one. What a God teach us. There's some more. I could just look at these all day. I could look at these for 8 hours. Go to Google, hit images, and type in electron microscope, and it's just a wonderful trip. Next one, please. Now, this is really, really zoomed in. Those are the nerve cells at the bottom of the hair that generate the electrons that go to your brain. Unbelievably small. And next one. Okay, that looks like a blob, right? This is one that I like to share with people. And next one. Your heart has very special cells, nowhere else found in the body, that are a combination muscle cell and nerve cell. And when a signal goes to it, it causes your heart to beat. Incredible design. They're called nodal heart muscle cells. And next one. Again, you could study those for 100 hours. We got to eat. And this is part of your heart. It's kind of blurry, but a lot of people here have worked with cables, right? And construction and things like that. Well, your heart has cables, and then cables around it, and then cables around it. Just wonderful. Look at the different patterns on the bottom. How could anybody not believe that's design? Because they're emotionally bitter at God, or they don't like the rules of the Bible, or they've never looked into it. I don't think anyone who's ever studied this has gone from creation to evolutionist. But people who have lost parents or loved ones, or overcome by temptation and don't like the Bible, might buy into it. But this is our foundation for our faith, in my opinion, that we build upon. And next one. I think we're almost there. Okay, quick questions for evolutionists, and this is on your handout. And they're all polite questions as well. You don't have to look at them. We're going to rip through these quick. Next one, please. There's some pizzas here. Do you really believe all these cells evolved by chance? Do you really think all these happened by chance? Again, they don't like the details. They might have a worldview that you're messing with. Next one. How did just one? We have 219. I'd be happy if you gave me the step-by-step process of how just one of the cells evolved. Next one. Is there any evidence of a cell evolving? Just think, if you're the result of evolution, we should have partially evolved cells in our body that are useless, right? Are any of these cells useless? Not a one. They're all complete and functional. Next one. Here's a good one. Which cell evolved first, right? Something had to be first. Next one. And what cell evolved last? Is there a sequence? They might say they all evolved instantly at once. Well, what's that? That's creation, right? We believe they all evolved, or they all appeared at once, fully functional. Next one. Just think. No cell is an island. They all need other cells in order to exist. That falsifies the theory of evolution. It's symbiotic. They all work together. Next one. And we're really close to the end. Which cells are vital to life, and did they all evolve instantly? A lot of these cells you could live without, but your life would be miserable. Most of them are absolutely vital to life. You don't have time to sit around waiting for a heart cell to evolve, right? And then you wait for a blood cell to evolve. No, you would decay and rot. Once again, when you get to the details, the theory of evolution is not defensible, which is why they won't debate. Next one. And a great astronomer said, PhD from Berkeley, we're just properly arranged stardust. Does this sound like properly arranged stardust to you? No. Once again, you're wonderfully, fearfully made. Our time on life is short. Think about the important things in life. Get to know God. And next one. There, to the end. All right. Well, does someone have a question? Yes.
I have a question. I heard from David Hunt, there's a very famous evangelist who is an evolutionary creationist, I guess, or some term like that. Are you aware of, like you mentioned earlier, that there are Christians that believe in evolution, that God created the evolutionary process? Are you aware of that?
I would say 9 out of 10 seminaries would teach that God used evolution. Would anyone agree to that? I would rather send my kids to UC Riverside or UCLA than most schools with Christian in the name, because they'll destroy your faith in the Bible. If you're going to go to a Christian college, check it out. When I first started doing this, I'll tell you real quickly, I just started calling churches out of the phone book. Would you like a free lesson? More than half said, well, I think God used evolution. So there's many, many pastors out there who believe it, because that's what the seminaries teach. And if you're at a cocktail party and want to sound cool, you're not going to sound cool by saying you're a creationist. You'll be a hip pastor, perhaps, if you believe in the theory of evolution. But no, and I have a lesson that's coming up on theistic evolution. That's what it's called. Nobody has ever read their Bible and said to their wife, hey, Martha, we're related to apes. Look at it, it's right here. But a lot of people who do love God get a lot of peer pressure from supposed intellectuals, and there's geniuses who believe evolution, don't get me wrong. They get so much peer pressure, they say, how am I going to wedge their thoughts into my Bible? There's 2 reasons I don't think God used evolution. Who wants to guess what they are? Bible doesn't teach it, and what doesn't show it? The evidence. Science doesn't show it. It's not biblical, there's not scientific evidence, there's 0 living evidence, 0 fossil evidence, biochemistry, taxonomy, zoology, all support. People make people, birds make birds, fish make what? Fish. That's what science is. So I'm not shocked at all. Many, many theologians believe it. And I once went to a church and the pastor believed it. And I asked him why, and he said, why not? I said, I asked you first. He couldn't defend it. He said, why not? And I said, oh, the Bible clearly teaches birds are after their kind. Fish are after their kind. Cattle are after their own kind. I observe cattle. They're making cattle. Fish are making fish. Bible and science support that. And you can get my DVD on the chicken and the egg that's in the back that I get into it in more detail. It's only $5. And on that DVD, you get my wife's lesson on animals too. So it's only $5 on the DVD. I talk about that in more detail. Yes?
On the embryonic versus the adult stem cells, I'm aware of that there is a way to promote or stimulate adult stem cells out of your bone marrow, and then that will go into the body to repair whatever you
Right.
need, so you don't even deal with embryonic.
The adult stem cells, suppose there's 219 cells, the adult stem cells can only address, like, say, 40 of them, and bone is one of them, blood is another, brain is another. So the adult stem cells can replace a lot of these, but not all of them, and incredibly successful with that. So the embryonic can do all 219 potentially, but they don't know which ones will become what. See, that's the research and the fear a lot of people have. A very good point. And it is the future, no matter what, it's going to get funded, and be the future for science and biochemistry. Because if they don't do it here, they'll do it in Asia big time. Okay, well, let's close. Have pizza. I'll stay and talk near the book table as long as you guys want. But thanks for coming. A big round of applause for Julia. And hope to see you September 6th. And we have a newsletter if you want to sign up for it. I send it out once a month. It's on that round table. But thanks for coming.